I was just weighing up what game to look at next when the news came over that Alex Kidd in Miracle World is about to get a brand new remake. This is the perfect game to look at after the last video on Master System Wonder Boy, and anyway my daughter insists that my son, after 3 months of lockdown without a haircut, now looks just like Alex. So I've taken the hint from the heavens. Let's get down to it. It's often suggested that Alex Kidd was Sega's first mascot, but that's not right at all. Flicky came earlier in Japan, and even in the West I seem to remember there being at least as much, and probably more, Opa Opa from Fantasy Zone on Sega's adverts and other branded products. Although plenty of Alex Kidd games came out, Sega's affection for Opa Opa has always seemed much clearer to me than any desire to have Alex Kidd plastered over their goods. When the Alex Kidd game started in production, it can't have been intended to provide a Sega mascot, for the simple reason that it was originally going to be a Dragon Ball game. I've never followed Dragon Ball, but a quick Google tells me that the paper, rock, scissors mechanic in Alex Kidd actually makes some degree of sense for a Dragon Ball video game. It is amazing to finally understand how the disastrous decision was made to include those, because for me they're probably the main element that stands between Alex Kidd's first adventure and true greatness. More on that later. Interestingly, the Dragon Ball link means that Alex Kidd is at the very least indirectly inspired by Wu Cheng En's classic Journey to the West, more often known in the actual West as Monkey. By the way, the English translation is well worth reading, and surprisingly funny if you're content to find amusement in a medieval Buddhist satire of Chinese bureaucracy and heavenly monkeys. It may not be everyone's thing, but I'm totally serious about recommending it. It is brilliant. The influence on Alex Kidd is clearly seen in his surprisingly religious sounding title. This Miracle World is certainly Buddhist, not Christian. The Japanese TV show of Monkey hit it big in the UK in the early 80s, and it's a bit of a pity that Alex Kidd didn't carry that license, because my childhood sorely lacks a video game version.
The nature of Monkey was irrepressible.
I love to fight! Born from an egg on the mountain top. He knew every magic under the sun. He's the gods and everyone and have some fun. Monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic.
Shouting monkey magic and then doing something stupid, vaguely designed to look like kung fu, but likely to result in self-injury or instant punishment, was a perfectly respectable way to behave in British playgrounds back then. The link to Monkey explains Alex Kidd's hairiness and semi-simian features, and also why it is that he starts off by coming down a mountain and bumps into quite so many cross-legged heavenly sages along the way. Also, you can tell me that the red and gold costume is a coincidence if you like, but I'm convinced the TV show had an influence on that. I think that having lost the Dragon Ball license, the design team sought to make the best of a bad situation by looking back to Dragon Ball's own inspiration. The actual supposed story of the game can be safely ignored as random bunkum designed to make sense of the levels themselves. It's just a pity that we don't get to meet Sandy, Pigsy and Tripitaka. That said, the bull end of level baddie might owe something to Sandy, and the blue monkey is almost certainly a callback to Monkey himself. The game itself is for the most part great fun. The controls are precise, and although it can be very frustrating to make the perfect jumps due to the fact that Alex has a degree of momentum, the game never feels unfair. Actually, never's the wrong word. There is one place where the game feels seriously unfair. More on that in a little bit. The graphics are fairly simple, but full of colour and character for their time. It's another testament to the glorious sunshine gaming available back then on the Master System. When they realised that they'd lost the Dragon Ball license, the developers set to turning it into a Super Mario style game. My previous video was partly designed to show that Wonder Boy didn't rip off Super Mario, but with Alex Kidd, so clear were they about the fundamental similarity that they then deliberately tried to introduce as many non-Mario elements on top to disguise it. I remember using a similar anti-plagiarism detection device in various essays I wrote when I was at school. To be honest, it was good of them to even try. A few years earlier, it was commonplace to just directly rip off your competitors' games. I think the reason why they didn't is that by this stage, Nintendo had developed something of a reputation for litigation. One of the main additions was the vehicles, which were instead probably copied over from Wonder Boy's skateboard. They act in precisely the same way, as a slightly out-of-control one-hit shield. That said, unlike Wonder Boy, Alex Kidd's vehicles are actually helpful. The swimming sections are also an addition to the Mario formula, although as I pointed out in my last video, Jungle King got there several years earlier. Minor curiosity is that Alex Kidd doesn't have to surface for air or find bubbles. You might think they just hadn't thought of that yet, but even in 1982 it was built into Jungle King. For me, this just supports the idea Alex is really the immortal monkey, who in Journey to the West can stay underwater using Taoist magic. In my view, Alex Kidd would have been a very serious Mario rival if it wasn't for the disastrous decision to include the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, or Janken, in the end-of-level boss fights. The fundamental fairness of the levels themselves is utterly undercut by the intrusion of random chance in these matchups. This takes it from top-tier classic to odd Japanese curiosity in one giant bound. There is an easy way round the battles themselves, as the game reacts the same every time, so first boss, rock then scissors, second, scissors then paper, third, rock, scissors, fourth, paper, paper, fifth, rock, rock, sixth, rock, scissors, seventh, paper, paper. You can't change the order at all though at any point for that to work. Knowing the order allows you to progress, but of course it also takes all the interest out of the boss fights, so it doesn't come close to repairing the damage done. Ultimately, Alex Kidd's first adventure could and should have been a proper full-on rival to Mario, but ended up being more of a curiosity. Unfortunately, the sequels throw the baby out with the bathwater. All they had to do was remove the Janken boss fights, and they could have created something excellent. But instead, they're a mixed bag of various different types of game, none of which quite live up to the potential of the original. That said, I'm still looking forward to the remake. There is a lot to like here. It's a very fun game, until you get to the boss fights. That's all I've got to say. I suggested maybe Outrun would follow last time, but looking on YouTube it really has been done to death. So I think I might gather some other Master System classics together and look at them collectively. Unless of course the heavens once again make it clear what video needs to go up next. Thank you.